spend a lot of time. I'm reading over the rules here. You've had trinomials before, factoring trinomials. Just a very quick overview here. If you have trinomials where a is 1, in other words, where the coefficient for the x squared is 1, this is a quick, easy way to factor. But you have to master the signs before you can really be proficient in this. And looking at these, you always want to look at the last sign first. I call it the caboose. You always go to the caboose. Go to the end and look at the last sign. If the last sign is a difference, in other words, if there's a subtraction, if the last sign is a difference, then the signs in the binomials are different. For example, these last two. This sign is a difference. This is a difference. If you know inside of the binomials, one's a plus and one's a minus. We'll talk a little bit later on about how you determine which is which, but the signs will be different inside the binomials. If you're looking at the last term and it's a sum, if the sign is positive, it is a sum, then the signs in the binomials will be the same. So I'm looking right here. It is a sum, so the signs are both the same. They're both positive. It is a sum, so the signs are the same. They're both negative. You determine that sign by looking at the first sign. They are the same. They are both positive, plus, plus. They are the same. They are both negative, minus, minus. Let's just practice some. In number 1, we have x squared plus 6x plus 8, and I want to factor this. So I set up my two binomials, and I go to the caboose and I look at my signs. It is a sum, so the signs will be the same. They will both be plus, plus. So in my parenthesis here, in my binomials, I know they're going to both be addition. The first term is x squared. When I FOIL, I'm going to multiply. So what multiplies and gives me x squared would be x times x. First number in the trinomial, first numbers or terms in the binomials. Then I look at 8, and here's the little song I sing. What are factors of 8 that add and give me 6? What are factors of 8 that add and give me 6? Here's where knowing your multiplication facts come in handy. So I'm going to come over here and say this is 8. That's 1 times 8, 2 times 4. Those are my factors. So I look there and go, which one of these add and give me 6? Well, it's 2 and 4. So I'm going to plug those in. Since the signs are the same, it does not matter which you put where. In number 2, y squared plus 4y minus 32, I can figure out the same thing. So I look right here and I say, okay, I'm going to set up my two binomials. The signs, I'm going to the caboose, the signs will be different. One's a plus and one's a minus. Now to determine which is which, you're going to have to play with your factors. But I look first and say, hey, this is a y squared, so this is going to be y times y. So I'm looking at this difference, and here's that song I sing. What are factors of 32 that subtract and give me 4? What are factors of 32 that subtract and give me 4? Again, you need to know your factors. So I have 32. That's 1 times 32, 2 times 16, 4 times 8, and then I would go 8 times 4, 16 times 2, and 32 times 1. So I'm looking which one of those subtract and give me 4. Well, it's right here, 4 times 8. Now, the signs are different, so I have to be careful. I want that difference to be a positive 4. Well, since I want it to be a positive 4, my larger number 8 must get that sign. And then 4 is the negative. Now, I'm going to check number 2, and I'm going to go back and check number 1. I neglected that. To check these, you would just FOIL them out. Well, I know that y times y is y squared. I chose that. I know that 8 times 4 is 32. I chose those numbers. To check it, you do the outside and the inside products, and that will give you the inside term. For example, y times negative 4 is negative 4y. Inside, 8, positive 8, times y is a positive 8y. Added together, that is 4y. That is that inner term right there. Going back to number 1, checking this. Outer terms, x times 4 is 4x. Inside, 2 times x is 2x. Added together is 6x. That is that inside term, right in the middle term. Number 3, z squared minus 8z minus 20. Look at the last sign. It is a difference. That means when I set up my two binomials, the signs will be different. One will be plus and one will be minus. Then I have z squared. What are factors of z squared? Z times z gives me z squared. Then what are factors of 20 that subtract and give me 8? What are factors of 20 that subtract and give me 8? Well, factors of 20 are 1 and 20, 2 times 10, 4 times 5. So which one of those subtract and give you 8 is going to be the 2 times 10. But now notice, I want negative 8. Since I want the 8 to be negative, I want this larger number 10 to be my negative, so it goes here and 2 goes here. Checking it, double checking. Outer terms, z times negative 10 is negative 10z. Inner terms, 2 times z is 2z. Added together is negative 8z, and that's that inner term, number 3. Number 4. Number 4, I'm looking at the factors of 6. So I'm going to set up my two binomials. The signs go to the caboose. It's a difference. So the signs are going to be plus and minus. Then I'm looking at factors of 6 that subtract and give me 1. What are factors of 6 that subtract and give me 1? Well, 6, that's 1 times 6, 2 times 3. Well, the 2 that subtract and give me 1 are going to be 2 times 3. But I, again, need to check because the signs are different. I need a positive 1. So right here, I'm going to choose that 3 to be positive and the 2 negative. A squared is my first term, so that is a times a. Again, I want to check that. Outer terms, that's negative 2a. Inner terms is positive 3a. Added together is a, and that's my middle term right there. Number 5. I'm going to set up my two binomials. My signs will be the same. Since this is sum, they'll be the same. This right here tells me that they will both be minus minus. The first term tells me what both of them are going to be here and here. The first term is c squared. C times c gives me c squared. What are factors of 45 that add and give me 14? A negative 14. Factors of 45 that add and give me negative 14. So here I have 45. 1 times 45. 3 times 15. 5 times 9. These are the factors of 45. So what are factors of 45 that add and give me a negative 14? Well, those are going to be 5 and 9. Since the signs are the same, it doesn't matter what you put first. But to check it, outer, I have negative 9c when I multiply. Negative 5 times c is negative 5c, and that adds up to be a negative 14c, which is my middle term here. Number 6, f squared plus 18f plus 45. The signs will be the same. Setting up my two binomials, they will be the same. In this case, they'll both be plus plus. The first term is f squared, so this is f times f. Then what are factors of 45 that add and give me 18? Now, I've got this already written over here. Sometimes that's a good idea to keep your factors already written down. The ones that add and give me 18 are going to be 5 times 3. Since the signs are the same, it doesn't matter which I write first. 15 times 3, 15 times 3. When I check it, my outer terms are 15f. My inner product here is 3f. Added together is 18f. It is very, very important that you understand the signs before you ever begin trinomials. Know to start at the caboose. If the last sign is a difference, then the signs are different in the parenthesis. If the last sign is a sum, they are the same. They will both be plus plus or minus minus, and the first sign tells you which.